Excellency for this session. I would like to kindly request that you start taking your seats on your designated locations because the presidents will be coming in very soon. So please do not sit on a seat where you're not supposed to be. People at the back, if we can start moving over to our seats, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies at the back, if we can start getting ready to sit down. The technical people, can we have the lights on, please? Ladies and gentlemen, people at the back, if you can be seated, please, and sit in your designated spaces. I wonder if they're going to put the lights on. Oh, brilliant, brilliant. The lights are coming on. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen at the back, if we can get seated, we need to be seated pretty soon. Brilliant. I'm going to do a very quick summary of some of the conversations that you've heard in the One Planet Summit that was just taking place. We are aware that obviously they're discussing the Africa Pledge, whose focus is around renewable energy, biodiversity, ecosystem conservation, and climate change adaptation in particular. We heard in the last speech that the Deputy Secretary General, Her Excellency Amina J. Mohammed, mentioned the importance and role of youth and also the importance of technology. And also the relevance of finding the investments, these idling funds that need to be released. So it's quite exciting to listen to some of these conversations and get a sense as to what is really happening on the global landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, I can still see some bilaterals happening in the corridors. Can I just request that people begin to get seated? If people can start to get seated, please. We need to clear the corridors for when the presidents come in. Right. I would like to introduce the UN Choir. Can I have a round of applause? Oh, come on. We could do better than that. Thank you. Thank you. The UN Choir is going to start with a song entitled Jumbo. Over to you.
Jambo, jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana, wageni wakaribishwa, Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Jambo, jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana, wageni wakaribishwa, Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Jambo, jambo bwana, habari gani?
so much. Thank you so much. I wanted to introduce the next song by the UN choir. Can we have some silence? And can I just request people to begin to be seated, please? We will be having the heads of states. I need this corridor cleared. Corridor and entrance cleared, please.
All the staff members standing at the back needs to go. Leave the entrance clear. Only media.
So people in the corridors, please, can we be seated? We need to be seated. And only media is at the entrance. Anybody else standing by the door, you need to move ASAP. Thank you. We heard a few minutes ago when the Deputy Secretary General said that the train has left the station, 2015. If you're ready to jump on it, 2020. The Sustainable Development Goals and other post-2015 agendas. This next song is a dedication to one of my dear colleague and a colleague of ours from UN Environment, Victor, who was so dedicated to Sustainable Development Goals and died really working on these issues. So they're going to sing a song in Kiswahili for his memory in commemoration of not just Victor, but many other colleagues and many other people who died and were supposed to be at this meeting today. If we can start getting seated, because the presidents will be coming in anytime soon. And please, ladies and gentlemen, could you kindly sit on your designated space? This next song is entitled Mo Li Hua. I hope I pronounced that properly. And it's a song in Mandarin entitled A White Jasmine Flower.
Thank you.
A really good round of applause. Another one. I'm still waiting. Thank you. I would like to request the choir to do Jumbo, again to welcome the new dignitaries who are walking in, if you may. Could I kindly ask, ladies and gentlemen, if you can actually clear this path. We need this section cleared, and I would like to kindly request that you take your seats in your designated locations.
Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Hakuna matata.
Okay.
Hakuna matata. Hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, the heads of states will soon be entering the conference room, so I would kindly request that we get seated. And for those standing close to the exit, we only have the exit for media and for the photographers, please. So please take pictures and tweet on our Twitter handle, which is #SolveDifferent. We're very excited. We've been seeing a lot of tweets from everybody. really talking about personal experiences in terms of how you solve different, how you live your lives, and how you navigate your everyday space on living differently and a sustainable future. Can I kindly request the people at the back that are not seated, please, if you can seat? If you can be seated, please. Thank you very much. For those of you who are just coming in, my name is Musonda Mumba. I'm going to be the MC for this session until I hand over to the President of UNEA. And I am with UN Environment. So ladies and gentlemen, at the back, if you can be seated, please. And we need to make sure that the corridor, my right-hand side corridor, has to be clear. Thank you. Before the choir sings another song, I just want to reiterate the conversation and the discussion that was happening in the One Planet Summit, and the president of the interim president of the World Bank Group, Her Excellency Ms. Kristalina Georgieva, actually did an intervention where she indicated that it's important we have a resilient Africa. And as part of the Africa Pledge, it's important that we make sure, and the commitment that's coming from the bank is that of initiatives such as green bonds and also looking at forest management. But she also iterated and indicated that the role of women, not just in Africa, but globally, is so critical and pivotal in being the change that we need to see in living sustainably. We have a few minutes, maybe less than a minute, before the presidents walk in. Karibuni. Sorry. So in 5 minutes' time, we're going to have the heads of states walking in. So if people can be seated, people at the back, please. The choir is going to give us another song entitled "The Lion Sleeps Tonight." Hey, Peter. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that lovely song. Ladies and gentlemen, the heads of states will be actually entering pretty soon. Shall I move away from there? Can you hear me? The heads of states will be entering pretty soon. So we're going to be ready with the welcome song. Can I kindly request that all the delegates who are standing at the back, if you can kindly seat in your designated spaces? Can I request the choir to start, please? The Karibuni song.
Coming down the stairs.
Shall I ask everybody to stand? Ladies and gentlemen, if we can stand, can I kindly request you to stand?
Also on the YouTube, you can tell them.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for the choir. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Excellencies, heads of state, ministers, dignitaries here at UNEA, welcome. My name is Musonda Mumba and I work for UN Environment and I'm going to be your MC for this session. I would like to welcome everyone who's arrived and the dignitaries who've just arrived on the podium. And at this juncture, I would like to invite the choir to do a solo song entitled Les oiseaux et l'enfant in French and to be sung by Irene. Please.
Aux yeux de lumière, qui voit passer au loin les oiseaux, comme l'oiseau bleu survolant la terre, voit comme le monde est beau, beau les bateaux dansant sur les vagues, de vie, d'amour et de vent, belle la chanson naissante de vagues, abandonnée au sable blanc.
Merci. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's the UN choir, ladies and gentlemen. At this juncture, I would like to indulge Your Excellencies. I would like to request the Excellencies on the panel to look to your right onto the balcony, because I have photographers over there, if you may. And the delegates seated in the audience to look to your left. I would like you to signal to the world, because there's another million, and if not billion people, who we want to really change the way we live. So if you may, do signal with your hands over that way, because the photographers are looking at you, and they'll give me a hand. Hands up, everybody, hands up. And there's a big sign written, solve different. Are we good? We're looking good? Thank you. Thank you so much. This is our family photo, and I would like to also indulge you a little bit more. If you may actually take your phone or your gadget and do a selfie with the person you're sitting next to and tweet that picture, because we want to go viral. We have to go viral. Please do. 1 minute, very quickly. Let's do. Selfie moment. And remember, the hashtag is Solve Different. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I would like to introduce the dignitaries seated in front. Your Excellencies, we have the President of the UN Environment Assembly, Mr. Kissler. We have the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta. We have the President of France, His Excellency Emmanuel Macron. We also have the President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, His Excellency Sirisena. We also have the President of Madagascar, His Excellency Rajoelina. We also have His Excellency, the Prime Minister of Rwanda, Ngirente. We also have the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Her Excellency Ms. Amina J. Mohammed. We also have the Interim President of the World Bank Group, Her Excellency Ms. Kristalina Georgieva. And we also have the Acting Executive Secretary, the Executive Director of UN Environment, Ms. Joyce Suya. I would also like to take this opportunity to recognize the Kenyan elders. If you may stand. We have the Kenyan elders, representative of the Kenyan communities. Thank you so much. At this juncture, I would like to hand over to the President of UNEA, Mr. Kissler. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Honorable Ministers, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to declare open the high-level segment of the fourth session of the UN Environment Assembly under the theme Innovative Solutions for Environmental Challenges and Sustainable Consumption and Production. And I will now have the honor to present my address to the Assembly. His Excellency, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency, Mr. Emmanuel Macron, President of the Republic of France, His Excellency, Mr. Maithripala Sirisena, President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, His Excellency, Mr. Andry Rajoelina, President of the Republic of Madagascar, His Excellency, the Right Honourable Edouard Ngirente, Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda, Her Excellency Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, and Ms. Joyce Suya, Acting Executive Director of the United Nations Environment Programme. Dignitaries, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, karibuni sana to Kenya. It is a great pleasure to welcome you to the opening of the high-level segment of the fourth session of the United Nations Environment Assembly of the United Nations Environment Programme. The international community has heard the calls for action needed to reorient our planet towards a sustainable path. In order to succeed, a substantial shift in sustainable consumption and production patterns needs to occur in all countries, in line with the ambitions and targets of the 2030 Development Agenda to leave no one behind. Progress is being reported throughout the world as countries build inclusive and resilient economies that brings people out of poverty, ensure food security, education, and provide a healthy environment. However, we must acknowledge that many challenges are threatening to derail our efforts. The last 4 years have been the warmest years on record. We are degrading our lands, polluting our oceans, and extracting resources at rates that are unmanageable and unsustainable. We are entering a reinforcing cycle from which we risk not being able to come back from. Major scientific assessments, such as the 6th Global Environment Outlook, are calling that we, as humanity, have reached a crossroads. A major species extinction event is underway, compromising planetary integrity and Earth's capacity to meet human needs. Action must be taken now to reverse these megatrends, thereby protecting human and environmental health and maintaining current and future integrity of global ecosystems. The 4th session of the United Nations Environment Assembly has taken action on many topics related to the theme of the Assembly. In this sense, we have seen the political will to seek innovation in the development of sustainable consumption and production policies, to improve resource efficiency, and to decouple economic growth from environmental degradation. Throughout the week, we have seen important events where major groups and stakeholders are leading the way to find innovative solutions to environmental challenges. Important dialogues on life cycle approaches, value change, and how a globalized world must decide on new rules of the game that are compatible with a sustainable and healthy planet. This UN Environment Assembly has decided to take on the most pressing environmental challenges in generations, steadily, committed, united, and determined to seek a sustainable path for future generations. This is the moment in time that will define us. We have the scientific evidence, we have the policies. Now is the time for action. Distinguished dignitaries, excellencies, and delegates. This week we have experienced very difficult days. We have mourned the tragic loss of our colleagues, friends, and families. As we mourned them, we also found within ourselves a deep sense of purpose, fraternity, compassion, and determination. We are the peoples of the United Nations. Please join me in dedicating the 4th session of the United Nations Environment Assembly to our fallen colleagues, friends, and families who lost their lives in the pursuit and in the belief that we must and we can build a better future for this planet and our children together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. At this juncture, I would like to call upon His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta.
Your Excellency Emmanuel Macron, President of the Republic of France, Your Excellency André Rajoelina, President of the Republic of Madagascar, Your Excellency Marithpal Sirisena, President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, Your Excellency Dr. Edward Ngirite, Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda, Mr. Slim Kisla, the President of the 4th United Nations Environment Assembly, Ms. Amina Mohammed, the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Ms. Cristina Giovina, the Interim World Bank Group President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin my statement today on a sad and somber note, because it is with a very heavy heart that I convey my deepest sympathies to the families, friends, and colleagues of the victims of the tragic crash of the Ethiopian Airlines flight ET-302 from Addis Ababa last Sunday. Kenya and all Kenyans stand in prayer and solidarity with the people and the government of Ethiopia and with every person affected by this disastrous occurrence. We mourn the loss of all those who lost their lives, among whom were 32 Kenyans and several United Nations staff. We pray that the Almighty God might rest their souls in eternal peace. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm indeed honored today to welcome you all to Kenya for the fourth session of the United Nations Environmental Assembly, and we say, Karibuni Kenya. I trust that you will all enjoy your stay, and I go further to encourage all of you to take advantage of your presence here to sample some of the many attractions that Kenya has to offer. I take this opportunity also to congratulate the Acting Executive Director, Ms. Joyce Suya, who for the last 5 months has led UNEP with commitment and diligence, and under whose able leadership this fourth session of the Assembly is taking place. I commend too the United Nations Secretary General for his recent appointment of Ms. Inga Anderson as the new Executive Director of UNEP, and I congratulate you, Ms. Anderson. I wish you all the best. As you prepare to take up the reins of this esteemed organization. And let me also take the opportunity to welcome the Secretary General's appointment of Mr. Wokne Kebuyu-Ngenewa, the current Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia, as the new Director General of UNON. We will continue to offer unwavering support to both UNEP and UNON, both as hosts as well as a member state of the United Nations, and we look forward to a re-energized agenda under this new leadership. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this session takes place at a time when the world is striving to address record levels of environmental degradation, food insecurity, poverty, and unemployment. Current global statistics are indeed quite sobering, and projections for the future generations are dire and demand urgent action by governments, communities, business, and individuals alike. This session's theme, as we have just heard, innovative solutions for environmental challenges and sustainable production and consumption, is therefore quite timely. It calls for practical and creative solutions, and countries must embrace a culture of innovation and invest in education and capacity building to facilitate the transition to a knowledge society. Needless to say, of course, finance and technology remain crucial in this regard. Distinguished guests, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development calls for urgent action towards poverty eradication for sustainable development. A strong linkage between the environment and social-economic developmental goals is essential. The delinking of social-economic development from escalating resource use and environmental degradation must also remain high on the agenda of sustainable development. Climate change continues to be a major threat to sustainable development worldwide. Its impact places disproportionately a heavy burden on the poor and vulnerable. We must therefore integrate climate action and sustainable development in our collective efforts to achieve the objectives under the Paris Agreement and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. I am pleased to note the recognition by this Assembly of our indigenous African traditions. I commend two indigenous groups drawn here from Kenya, whose work has been showcased for their contribution to the sustainable utilization of natural resources. The Mikoko Pamoja group from the coastal region conserves, manages, and enriches mangrove forests, and the Coastal Community Innovation Group focuses on seagrass. I also recognize the presence today and the participation in this assembly of our traditional and spiritual leaders, as well as representatives of the Council of Elders drawn from different regions of our country. I appreciate the role that our traditional and spiritual leaders play in environmental conservation, resolution of resource-based conflicts, and as custodians of our traditional indigenous knowledge, as well as our cultural heritage. I urge us all to learn from these traditional practices worldwide for the benefit of mankind. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, now more than ever, we must together find ways to reverse unsustainable agricultural practices and promote resource and energy efficiency. This session's theme brings to the fore the imperative to transform the way we produce and consume food. We must minimize waste and make our global food systems more sustainable. Only then can we improve food security and promote access to nutritious and affordable foods. Poor waste management is a major global challenge. Adopting a waste-to-energy innovation approach that converts waste from industrial activities into energy is one way to promote a circular economy. The Kenya Cleaner Production Strategy 2000 encourages resource efficiency and cleaner production in manufacturing as it embraces the 5 R's philosophy of reduce, reuse, recycle, reformulate, and remanufacture, cutting emissions into the environment to acceptable levels. My administration has also put in place several policies and legal instruments to control environmental pollution, including imposing a ban on single use of plastic carrier bags. The Rio +20 UN Conference on Sustainable Development in 2012 agreed on the need to support UNEP. The outcome document, titled The Future We Want, calls for the strengthening of the role of UNEP as the leading global environmental authority and authoritative advocate for the global environment. Kenya remains committed to re-energizing and strengthening the headquarter functions of UNEP in Nairobi and echoes the General Assembly's call for stable, adequate, and increased financing for UNEP. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, the record level also of attendance from heads of state to youth, from private sector to community-based organization, no doubt demonstrates the critical role played by the environment on the global agenda. I trust that you will all together forge new paths and communicate bold new political messages that enhance sustainable development and innovative solutions. I therefore wish you all very fruitful discussions, and I look forward to positive, innovative, and far-reaching outcomes. I thank you all for your attention, and I wish you every success in your deliberations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your commitment to environmental matters and for the role that you play as host of the UN Environment Programme and its governing body. Ladies and gentlemen, now I am honored to invite His Excellency Mr. Emmanuel Macron, President of the Republic of France, to address the Assembly.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président de l'Assemblée générale des Nations unies, Madame la Vice-secrétaire générale des Nations unies, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs d'État et de gouvernement, Mesdames et Messieurs les ministres, Madame la Directrice générale adjointe de la Banque mondiale, Madame la Secrétaire générale du Programme des Nations unies pour l'environnement, félicitations pour votre élection. Mes chers amis, merci avant tout, Président Kenyatta, pour l'accueil et l'exemple. L'accueil dans la durée, en effet, pour les Nations Unies ici présentes, pour ce sommet et le One Planet Summit que nous venons de tenir ensemble. Votre présence et aussi le leadership en matière d'environnement que vous tenez sur le continent africain. Merci beaucoup pour cela. Et permettez-moi, Président, comme je l'ai eu tout à l'heure, en ouverture de notre One Planet Summit, d'avoir à mon tour une pensée pour l'ensemble des victimes et des familles de victimes du crash aérien d'Ethiopian Airlines entre Addis Abeba et Nairobi. C'étaient nos amis et nos enfants qui étaient. 9 ressortissants français, plusieurs Éthiopiens, Kenyans, membres des Nations Unies, de la Banque mondiale, de nombreuses ONG, de nombreux pays ici présents. Et beaucoup ont péri dans cet accident parce qu'ils étaient en train de travailler sur ce sommet d'aujourd'hui. Et donc, j'ai une pensée toute particulière pour ces victimes et leurs familles. Mes chers amis, le président Kenyatta vient de le dire, et Monsieur le Président de l'Assemblée générale, vous l'avez aussi très bien dit, nous savons combien l'agenda qui est le nôtre est essentiel, et cette année, sans doute plus encore, parce que les Nations Unies l'ont mis au cœur de leur propre agenda. Et je le disais tout à l'heure, les constats sont faits depuis longtemps. De nombreux chefs d'État ou de gouvernement, bien avant moi, et parfois des décennies plutôt, ont dénoncé, les scientifiques ont dénoncé encore. Le GIEC, il y a encore quelques mois, nous a redit que nous n'étions même pas dans la trajectoire de l'accord de Paris. Et donc aujourd'hui, en matière de lutte contre le réchauffement climatique, en matière de biodiversité, et donc sur tous nos combats en matière d'environnement, nous savons, nous nous sommes mobilisés, nous nous organisons, mais nous n'y sommes pas. Et pour notre génération, c'est peut-être plus terrible encore, parce que nous ne pourrons pas dire que nous ne savions pas. Et donc les comptes que nous aurons à rendre sont immenses, immenses. Beaucoup ont hésité, attendu, parfois certains hésitent encore, en disant « on n'est pas tout à fait sûr, on ne sait pas vraiment, êtes-vous bien sûr que les conséquences est ceci ou cela ?» Et maintenant notre jeunesse nous presse. Elle nous dit « vous n'allez pas assez vite ». Elle manifeste, à juste titre, en disant « si vous n'allez pas assez vite, c'est que vous ne voulez pas, vous n'en êtes pas capable, il doit y avoir des intérêts cachés, on ne nous explique pas tout. » Et donc, aujourd'hui, nous devons agir. Nous avons sur tous ces sujets beaucoup à faire au niveau national comme au niveau régional, et je n'y reviendrai pas. Mais l'agenda international est pour moi essentiel, et c'est quelques mots de ce combat que je voulais ici partager avec vous. D'abord, la lutte contre le réchauffement climatique, et donc la lutte pour réduire nos émissions et tenir la trajectoire sur laquelle nous nous sommes collectivement engagés. L'agenda de Paris, il a été défini, cher Laurent Fabius, en 2015, à Paris, au moment de la COP 21. Le pire a été évité à Katowice en fin d'année dernière, grâce à la mobilisation du secrétaire général des Nations Unies, et je veux ici saluer son remarquable travail et en particulier sa mobilisation dans les dernières semaines. Mais nous ne sommes pas au rendez-vous de l'action. Nous devons évidemment tous et toutes finir les travaux de signature et de ratification de l'accord, mais nous devons le compléter aujourd'hui par notre propre travail. Et à cet égard, les COP à venir seront déterminantes. La mobilisation de plusieurs de nos amis, je pense en particulier au Chili, l'est tout autant. Et nous serons là. Nous devons nous décliner en termes très concrets la stratégie de réduction des émissions dans nos propres stratégies nationales, avec nos entreprises, avec nos investisseurs, par nos lois, par nos choix. Nous devons ensuite porter des solutions concrètes. C'est l'agenda du One Planet Summit, entre autres, que nous portons avec la Banque mondiale et avec les Nations Unies. Et sur ce sujet, c'est la remobilisation des financements internationaux, des entreprises, des ONG, des gouvernements, pour, sur des coalitions d'actions concrètes, réussir dans toutes les régions du globe à réduire nos émissions. Mais nous devons aller plus loin sur ce point. Le secrétaire général des Nations Unies a confié au Premier ministre de la Jamaïque et à moi-même la mission pour le sommet de septembre de travailler sur les fameux 100 milliards, c'est-à-dire la capacité à remobiliser des financements des États développés, des États les plus riches, vers les États en voie de développement et celles et ceux qui ont en quelque sorte à construire des solutions de manière accélérée. Nous y travaillons d'arrache-pied et nous serons au rendez-vous, mais je veux ici très solennellement dire comment je vois cet exercice. Il y a deux écueils. Le premier, ce serait de dire on va repeindre en vert tout ce qu'on fait déjà. Nous sommes collectivement des grands spécialistes de cet exercice. Welcome to the greenwashing world. On ne fera pas ça. Le deuxième grand risque, c'est qu'on dise c'est 100 milliards pour pouvoir faire comme on a toujours fait à côté et qu'on va continuer à faire. Et on se tromperait. Pour moi, le cœur de la réponse en termes de financement de la transition environnementale que nous devons apporter au sommet de septembre et que nous avons commencé à travailler dans le cadre du One Planet Summit et de nos discussions, c'est comment on change en profondeur le modèle de financement de nos économies, comment on transforme l'économie de marché contemporaine mondiale pour qu'elle intègre les critères environnementaux, pour faire passer les investisseurs internationaux, les fonds souverains, les grandes banques à des critères de rating environnementaux. Comment on fait passer tout cet argent massif vers des critères de financement durables? Ce sera le défi qui sera le nôtre. Et l'Africa Pledge que nous avons vu aujourd'hui est au cœur de ce défi. Parce que si nous savons faire cela, c'est-à-dire tirer les conséquences concrètes de nos engagements de Paris, remobiliser la finance publique et privée internationale autour de ces objectifs et accélérer les solutions innovantes partout sur le terrain, comme nous l'avons vu pour le continent africain tout à l'heure, avec des modèles plus décentralisés, plus rapides, bien souvent moins coûteux, en contrariant beaucoup d'intérêts acquis et beaucoup d'ailleurs de ce que nous avons fait pendant des décennies à travers les continents. Alors nous pouvons réussir. Ce sera au cœur pour moi de cette mobilisation collective en matière de lutte contre le réchauffement et de baisse des émissions. Nous avons ensuite un deuxième agenda, c'est la lutte pour la nature et la biodiversité. Et ce combat, il est jumeau du premier. On est en retard en quelque sorte dans le réveil collectif, mais nous avons dans notre nature, notre biodiversité, des solutions à cette nouvelle réponse qui est à la fois économique et environnementale pour le monde qui est le nôtre. Nous avons beaucoup de solutions de captation naturelle du carbone. Nous avons beaucoup de solutions de développement économique inclusif, que ce soit économiquement ou socialement. Et ce que vous venez de lancer en matière de lutte contre la déforestation est à cet égard essentiel. Et là aussi, les mois qui viennent sont des mois de rendez-vous. La France aura l'honneur d'accueillir à Marseille le Congrès mondial de la nature. Nous devrons être au rendez-vous d'une mobilisation collective sur ce point. Et nous serons aux côtés de la Chine pour la COP 15 2020 pour la biodiversité, qui doit être le grand rendez-vous d'une mobilisation internationale en matière d'engagement concret pour notre biodiversité. C'est-à-dire non seulement stopper partout où c'est en cours la diminution du nombre d'espèces, les déforestations, mais également prendre des actions concrètes pour reconquérir du terrain. Et là aussi, dans le One Planet Summit, plusieurs grandes coalitions ont déjà été mises en œuvre, dans le Pacifique, dans les Caraïbes, en Afrique, en Europe, pour, de manière concrète, porter des premières actions en matière de lutte pour la nature, pour la biodiversité, parce que c'est l'agenda qui est devant nous, qui est absolument essentiel. Et il est complémentaire du premier. Et là aussi, c'est une transformation profonde de nos écosystèmes productifs. C'est comment créer partout une véritable économie circulaire qui permet de lutter contre le gaspillage. C'est comme vous l'avez dit, Président Kenyatta, réussir à construire une vraie mobilisation pour lutter contre le plastique, réduire sa production, réduire son usage, faciliter son tri et sa récupération et systématiser son recyclage. Parce que c'est ainsi que nous lutterons contre la pire pollution contemporaine de nos océans et de nos mers et une forme d'étouffement de la planète et de réduction de notre biodiversité. Et donc là aussi, ce sont des actions extrêmement concrètes des gouvernements, des acteurs économiques, ce sont des changements, des emplois qu'il faut détruire d'un côté, recréer de l'autre, parfois des angoisses dans nos sociétés. Mais c'est la seule manière de construire un monde où nous pourrons tous collectivement nous projeter. Et là aussi, nous serons collectivement au rendez-vous de ce pragmatisme et vous le voyez, l'agenda international des prochains mois sera extrêmement structurant. Enfin, l'agenda multilatéral doit accompagner cet effort pour lutter contre le réchauffement et pour la nature et la biodiversité. Et je vois pour moi deux grandes mobilisations qui viendront en quelque sorte accompagner et soutenir le sommet de septembre des Nations Unies en la matière. La première, c'est le G7. La France, cette année, préside le G7. Je pense que le G7 ne doit plus être un forum d'États qui ne sont plus capables de se mettre d'accord sur un communiqué commun quand il s'agit du climat. Ça, plus personne ne peut le comprendre. Le G7 doit être sur les sujets climatiques, là aussi. Et je respecte les choix souverains de chacun de ses membres, mais donc, moi j'ai décidé qu'il n'y aurait pas de déclaration finale. C'est plus simple, d'ailleurs personne ne les lit. Mais qu'il y aurait des mobilisations concrètes et donc des actions extrêmement efficaces. Et donc, comme j'ai mis au cœur du G7, avec l'ensemble de mes partenaires, la lutte contre les inégalités, nous aurons une session dédiée à la lutte contre l'ensemble des inégalités environnementales. Et nous aurons une session avec les Nations Unies, la Banque mondiale et l'ensemble des pays que nous associons pour qu'il y ait, au fond, le G7 Pledge, un engagement très clair du G7 en matière d'environnement. Les uns iront sur la lutte contre le réchauffement climatique plus fort et plus vite, les autres, au moins, devront le faire sur le plastique ou telle action, mais nous devons clairement, autour de cette table-là, apporter notre part de réponse à la mobilisation de la communauté internationale en matière d'environnement. Et ça, ce sera pour la fin du mois d'août à Biarritz, à Paris, et je mobiliserai l'ensemble des partenaires du One Planet Summit pour ce faire. La deuxième chose, c'est que je crois que nous devons donner des droits nouveaux à nos citoyens. Nous avons besoin de nos citoyens. Nous avons besoin de la colère de notre jeunesse, parce que c'est celle-là qui nous pousse à aller plus vite et plus fort. Et donc nous devons donner la possibilité à nos citoyens de nous bousculer quand nous ne sommes pas au rendez-vous. C'est pourquoi je crois très profondément au pacte mondial pour l'environnement. Nous devons changer notre droit international et construire le droit international de l'environnement qui correspond à cette mobilisation collective. Cette initiative, elle a été portée à l'origine par la société civile. Et elle part de ce constat simple qu'il n'existe pas à ce jour de droit international de l'environnement robuste. Et il y a beaucoup de textes juridiques, mais ils sont fragmentés, lacunaires, parfois opposés. Et donc, dans les interstices et les contradictions du droit, se développent partout des comportements qui contribuent à dégrader la biosphère en toute impunité. Il y a eu un gros travail qui a été conduit par des juristes du monde entier, une mobilisation qui a été faite, en particulier en France, et je salue le travail et la mobilisation de Laurent Fabius pour ce point, qui a été très forte avec beaucoup de ses collègues dans le monde entier des cours suprêmes et des meilleurs juristes pour bâtir une proposition. Et moi, j'ai souhaité que non seulement la France, mais la communauté internationale puisse la reprendre pour bâtir ce pacte mondial pour l'environnement. Le but, c'est de remédier à cette situation, c'est de poser les bases juridiques qui permettront d'identifier les comportements anti-environnementaux et de poursuivre partout, de la même manière, leurs auteurs. Ce pacte, c'est du concret et c'est potentiellement une révolution. Alors, pour que ce soit du concret, je le dis tout de suite, il faut qu'il soit juridiquement contraignant. J'entends les voix qui s'élèvent qui disent c'est formidable idée, on va faire un pacte mondial pour l'environnement, mais on fera quelque chose qui n'est pas juridiquement contraignant. Ça veut dire qu'on fera quelque chose qui s'appellera une déclaration non-legally binding, comme on connaît bien ça, et donc on mettra des mots. Mais ces mots ne changeront pas les actions. Donc, nous croyons qu'il nous faut, face à la situation que nous vivons, mettre en place du véritable droit, c'est-à-dire mettre en place des règles contraignantes que nous puissions adapter sur le plan international. La biosphère menace de s'effondrer, l'humanité est en sursis, on ne peut pas simplement répondre par de beaux principes sans portée concrète. C'est pourquoi je souhaite que nous nous mobilisions aussi collectivement pour qu'en 2020-2021, nous puissions réussir à finaliser ce pacte mondial pour l'environnement qui est absolument indispensable et qui vient compléter le travail que je viens d'évoquer. Nous devons construire ensemble le premier traité international pour l'environnement qui sera pour les États, pour les entreprises, pour les citoyens du monde une boussole. À chaque sujet nouveau que nous avons défriché dans notre monde, il y a eu les mêmes réticences pour construire du droit international. À chaque fois. À chaque fois, nous avons su nous réveiller et faire. Pour l'environnement, c'est maintenant. Voilà, mesdames et messieurs, mes chers amis, ce que je voulais partager avec vous en vous redisant le bonheur d'être là aujourd'hui à Nairobi et vous dire combien je suis convaincu que les défis qui sont les nôtres sont évidemment immenses parce qu'ils sont le fruit de beaucoup d'erreurs passées, parfois d'une volonté de ne pas voir, parfois d'intérêts bien cachés et bien compris. Mais nous devons voir. Je ne fais pas partie de ceux qui pensent qu'il est trop tard. Je ne fais pas partie de ceux qui pensent que être un supporter de l'environnement dans le monde, c'est simplement dénoncer ou dire qu'on serait tous fichus. Je pense que c'est faire, c'est décider, en emmenant toutes nos sociétés, avec leurs difficultés, parfois leurs résistances, mais en s'assurant que chacun y trouve sa place. C'est ne jamais céder au cynisme et à l'inaction, mais non plus à ne jamais céder à aucune facilité de la déploration, et à se dire que notre génération, c'est la génération de ceux qui doivent décider de faire, d'agir, avec force, avec clarté, avec détermination dans nos pays, nos continents, et sur cet agenda international des Nations Unies, et nous y serons pleinement actifs. Je vous remercie. Merci beaucoup. Je vous salue.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause as President Kenyatta is going to bid farewell to President Macron. And I invite the choir to sing.
Hush, my darling, don't fear, my darling. The lion sleeps tonight. Hush, my darling, don't cry, my darling. The lion sleeps tonight. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. Near the village, the peaceful village, the lion sleeps tonight. Near the village, the quiet village, the lion sleeps tonight. Hush, my darling, don't fear, my darling. The lion sleeps tonight. Hush, my darling, don't cry, my darling. The lion sleeps tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, I call the Assembly to order. I ask you for silence and find your seat. And we continue. I now wish to invite His Excellency Mr. Maithripala Sirisena, President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, to address the Assembly.
Good afternoon. His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, President of the Assembly, Deputy Secretary General UN, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Excellencies, permit me at the outset to extend my sincere appreciations to the government and people of Kenya for the warm welcome and generous hospitality extended to me and my delegation at this assembly. May I also commend the government of Kenya and the United Nations Environment Programme for the excellent arrangement made for the assembly. Sri Lanka signed the Paris Agreement, which is unprecedented global commitment to combat climate change, since our country has been listed as the second highest in the Global Climate Risk Index of 2019. Implementing of climate action are very vital to us. As I stated in my keynote address at the third forum of Asia Pacific Ministers and Environment Authorities in Singapore in January 2019, I wish to reiterate that it is our prime duty to assure the right to live in a safe environment and introduce environmentally sound economic trends that build upon sustainable global economic indices. Mr. President, being a follower of the Buddhist philosophy, I firmly believe that we are responsible for securing the sustenance of not only mankind, but also the life on earth as a whole. Mr. President, I observe that poverty is a significant cause for global environmental problems. Environment degradation and poverty are closely interrelated and inseparable, particularly in developing countries. Human-induced ecosystem degradation has caused multiple challenges impacting air, water, marine, soil, and all forms of ecosystems. This problem at the same time provided us opportunities to be innovative. I am pleased and excited about the timely theme of UNEA 4, which has captured most challenges faced by countries, including island nations such as ours. Today we are meeting here to endorse the ministerial declaration on innovative solutions for environmental challenges and sustainable consumption and production. Mr. President, my country has initiated in co-sponsors for resolution for UNEA 4, along with other partnering countries on conservation of mangroves, marine litter and microplastic, solid waste management and food losses and waste. I am pleased to state that Sri Lanka is the first country in the South Asian region to prepare a sustainable consumption and production policy with the assistance of Switch Asia Policy Support Initiative. Sri Lanka has taken several ground-level smart initiatives for policy formulation and implementation toward greening under my government's blue-green approach covering both land and ocean. The national policy on urban air quality management ensures clean air for a healthy nation or the Clean Air 2025 Action Plan. Oil-based transport and power sector have been identified as the main source of emission, therefore importation of vehicles were restricted to Euro 4 standard. In energy, we are rapidly moving to integrate renewable energy such as solar, wind, wave and biogas to our energy mix to minimize oil and coal use. Sri Lanka joined the UN Clean Seas campaign alongside UNEA 3 and developed a roadmap with a view to minimize land-based ocean pollution. Sri Lanka is implementing a river basin and integrated coastal management approach to prevent ocean and water resources pollution that also include plastic and chemicals. Furthermore, as the Minister of Environment, I have taken a step to ban manufactures and use of polythene products such as high-density polyethylene, shopping bags, carry bags, lunch sheet and lunch boxes. In addition, regulations have been enforced to prohibit the open burning of polythene. During the recently concluded Commonwealth Head of Common Government meeting, Sri Lanka pledged to be the champion in the action group for restoration of mangroves under the Commonwealth Blue Charter. Approximately 9,000 hectares of mangrove forests have been declared as a conservation forest. Mr. President, considering that an urgent attention of all nations is needed to protect coral reef as one of the most sensitive ecosystems in the world, Sri Lanka has stepped forward to obtain the membership of International Coral Reef Initiative with the intention of networking with other states. We have taken steps to minimize unsustainable and destructive fishing practices that are damaging to corals. Several initiatives have been taken in line with Marine Environment Pollution Control Strategy 2030. We identified the challenges of pollution due to intensive sea routes linking west to east, demonstrating Sri Lanka's commitment towards achieving the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Sri Lanka was the first country to establish a separate ministry with the portfolio for sustainable development and establish the Sustainable Development Council to ensure that Sri Lanka meets the Sustainable Development Goals. In January 2019, I declare open the first green city designed and built by my government, namely the Laggala Green City. This new city was built under the Morgahakanda Kaluganga multipurpose reservoir project. This city will accommodate over 3,000 families who were initially displaced when the Morgahakanda reservoir was first filled with water. We have planned to build more such green cities in the country. In my capacity as the Minister of Environment, I commenced a program in 2015 known as Vanaropa. The purpose is to increase the depleted forest cover from 29% to 32% to conserve biodiversity and the natural ecosystem and promote the management of commercial forestry and various other activities. Month of October every year is declared as the National Tree Planting Month, dedications to raise awareness and tree planting island-wide. Each year with the voluntary collaboration of various government departments, organizations and school children and the citizens of the country, approximately 2 million plants were distributed and planted. Fruit tree saplings were distributed to school children for planting, and financial benefits were offered to maintain the plants growing. Mr. President, agriculture is the main source of livelihood for people living in the rural areas of Sri Lanka, and it has much potential for greening and to be climate smart. we like to see sustainable consumption and production, and science and technology are applied in our agriculture. This will not only help strengthening the financial position of the rural farmers and various others involved in the process, but also that of the country as a whole. One of the biggest challenges faced by the farmers in Sri Lanka is the uncertain climatic conditions. While one year there is an abundance of rain that creates a flood-like situation, the next season the rainfall is little to the extent that the same region experiences drought. Sri Lanka is searching to adopt the system of cloud seeding, which is said to be successful in some countries. Mr. President, recently, in October 2018, we discovered a type of caterpillar that caused destruction in many farmlands, destroying over 80,000 hectares of corn cultivation within a period of 1 month. That was a grave threat to our food production and a serious challenge to the environment. However, 3 research groups from the Faculty of Agriculture of Peradeniya University, Sri Lanka, were able to find solutions to suppress the growth and control the spreading of the caterpillar. Also, as a country rich in nature, culture and heritage, we like capitalize on nature and nature-related sustainable businesses to drive our socio-economic development. In that context, the UNEA provide a sound base and tools towards managing and using nature. Mr. President, I am pleased to announce that we are hosting the 18th Conference of Parties of CITES in Sri Lanka in this May. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, concluding my statement, I wish to extend our appreciations to the United Nations Environment Programme for its efforts on the environment front, as well as for the valuable support extended to Sri Lanka for better environment management. I wish this forum all success. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for a statement. Next, I am honored to invite His Excellency Mr. Andry Rajoelina, President of the Republic of Madagascar, to address the Assembly.
Excellences, Madame la Secrétaire générale adjointe des Nations Unies, Excellences, Madame la Présidente par intérim de la Banque mondiale, Excellences, Monsieur le Président de l'Assemblée des Nations Unies pour l'environnement, Madame la Directrice générale du Programme des Nations Unies pour l'environnement, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs d'État et de gouvernement, honorables invités, Mesdames et Messieurs, avant toute chose, je voudrais tout d'abord saisir cette opportunité qui m'est offerte de partager le réel plaisir que j'éprouve d'être parmi vous à l'occasion de cette Assemblée générale de l'ONU pour l'environnement. Nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui en si grand nombre, avec détermination et intérêt, pour traiter l'urgence climatique qui est de notre responsabilité. Je vous parlerai également des grands défis environnementaux auxquels Madagascar doit faire face afin d'accélérer l'élan de son développement et le faire perdurer. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, vous n'êtes pas sans savoir que Madagascar vient de passer un cap décisif dans son histoire et surtout pour son avenir en ayant vécu une alternance démocratique pacifique. Les Malagasy ont gagné en maturité politique et sont prêts à s'unir pour redresser le pays et le mettre sur les rails de l'émergence. La croissance économique de Madagascar est étroitement liée aux immenses défis environnementaux du pays. Nous voulons faire de la biodiversité malagasy un moteur de croissance et aussi répondre aux complexes questions de l'industrialisation verte et du développement durable. En effet, Madagascar est la plus grande île de l'océan Indien et du continent africain. Quand vous regardez la carte du monde, dans le sud-est de l'Afrique, Madagascar est facilement identifiable, pourtant souvent ignorée, souvent méconnue. Et pourtant, elle est une île précieuse. C'est un vrai joyau de l'océan Indien. Car évidemment, dans le classement mondial des pays détenteurs d'une méga biodiversité, Madagascar est le numéro 1 du top 10. Nous détenons également 85% des espèces endémiques et 5% de la biodiversité mondiale. Sur plus de 200 000 espèces connues trouvées à Madagascar, plus de 80% n'existent nulle part ailleurs au monde. Nous disposons également plus de 5 000 km de côtes, de 50 000 hectares de mangroves, de 155 000 hectares de lacs et de lagunes. Madagascar est un sanctuaire de la nature qu'il faut préserver et qui fait la fierté des Malagasy. Cependant, c'est l'une des écosystèmes les plus menacés dans la planète. Notre belle île figure parmi les pays les plus exposés au changement climatique, malgré le fait qu'il soit parmi les pays peu polluants. En effet, des changements climatiques font partie des réalités des Malagasy. Les dégâts causés par les changements climatiques constituent une entrave au progrès du pays. Jusqu'à présent, aucune initiative nationale, aucune politique environnementale claire n'a été adoptée. Mais cela, c'était avant. Aujourd'hui, la prise de conscience est absolue. La volonté politique est plus que jamais présente et l'optimisme est là. Madagascar est prêt à s'engager dans le virage de la croissance verte. La grande île est une terre bénie, une destination aux mille surprises, avec un patrimoine naturel hors du commun. Cette terre regorge de richesses et de ressources intarissables, d'opportunités. Mesdames et messieurs, l'année prochaine, nous célébrerons le 60e anniversaire du retour de l'indépendance de Madagascar. Nos pays frères africains, tels que la Côte d'Ivoire, ont commencé leur processus de développement au même moment, à la même année que nous. Mais pourtant, à titre d'exemple, le peuple ivoirien bénéficie d'une production énergétique de 2000 mégawatts, contrairement à Madagascar, qui ne dépasse même pas les 400 mégawatts, essentiellement issus des énergies fossiles. Mais à compter de ce jour, nous considérons ce temps comme révolu. Aujourd'hui, nous nous engageons à doubler, voire tripler notre production énergétique avec un minimum de 800 mégawatts en 5 ans en privilégiant les énergies renouvelables. 90% des infrastructures que nous allons développer produiront de l'énergie verte. Nous utiliserons principalement des parcs solaires, des éoliennes, l'hydraulique et la géothermie. Conscient de cette révolution, que cette révolution exige l'adhésion de tous, des campagnes de sensibilisation viennent d'être lancées en s'appuyant sur un comportement exemplaire des dirigeants et leaders. Nous prenons des décisions fortes aujourd'hui pour sculpter l'avenir des Malagasy. Manaza Tandazana, Mitsinzu Tanzanak. ce qui signifie en malagasy respecter la terre des ancêtres et veiller sur les terres des enfants. Pour ramener la lumière à Madagascar et sortir de l'obscurité, des solutions innovantes en énergie seront déployées, car à ce jour, seulement 15% de la population malagasy a accès à l'électricité. Pour donner rapidement accès à l'électricité au plus grand nombre des familles malagasy, la solution la plus adaptée est la vulgarisation des kits solaires, en particulier pour les habitants dispersés et éloignés des réseaux. En effet, l'éparpillement des habitants rend difficile la connexion de ceux-ci au réseau local. Il y a quelques jours de cela, Madagascar a fait un grand pas dans le changement d'habitude de consommation des ménages, car depuis des siècles, les Malagasy cuisent leurs aliments avec le bois de chauffe ou le charbon de bois. Le 7 mars dernier, pour la première fois, nous avons posé une pierre de l'usine d'éthanol malagasy a été posée. Cette initiative traduit une volonté subsistante graduellement du charbon de bois par des réchauds utilisant cette énergie non polluante. Ainsi, chaque réchaud utilisé, nous sauvons 1 hectare de forêt et par famille. Ce projet représente une avancée encourageante dans le combat contre la déforestation. Grâce à cette initiative engagée par la PAISFA, une plateforme panafricaine présentée par mon épouse, nous atteindrons l'objectif de sauver les forêts de Madagascar et de l'Afrique. Le calcul est simple. La vente d'1 million de réchauds équivaut à 1 million d'hectares de forêts sauvées chaque année. Les Malagasy adhèrent à la transition énergétique et nous sommes prêts. Dans cette ligne, nous avons tracé les grandes lignes de la réforestation de Madagascar, un défi désormais prioritaire pour l'État. Ainsi, dès le début de mon mandat, j'ai adopté des mesures fortes pour initier une grande campagne de reboisement national. L'objectif est de reboiser une surface de 40 000 hectares par an, avec un minimum de 40 millions d'arbres chaque année. Pour ce faire, nous allons mobiliser tous les citoyens pour mener une action collective de reforestation. Chaque Malagasy devra désormais planter au minimum 10 arbres par an. Et l'État offrira gratuitement ces plants grâce à des pépinières que nous allons établir dans les 22 régions. Si auparavant Madagascar était appelée l'île rouge, désormais elle sera l'île verte grâce à notre plan de réforestation. Son Excellence M. Uhuru Kenyatta, président de la République de Kenya, notre présence ici marque la volonté de Madagascar à se joindre à toute la grande famille des Nations Unies pour la réforestation et la préservation de notre forêt. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, la révolution verte est en train de s'opérer à Madagascar. Parallèlement aux actions menées auprès des ménages, nous accompagnerons également les opérateurs économiques à privilégier les énergies renouvelables dans les unités de production des biens et services. Pour ce faire, une transition vers les ressources énergétiques propres sera obligatoirement pour l'ensemble des tissus entrepreneuriaux. Le secteur privé jouera un rôle majeur dans l'ouverture à l'économie verte à Madagascar. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, Madagascar a toujours été oublié par les projets et passé sous radar des donateurs. Mais cela va changer, car la volonté politique est là. Le leadership est fort, jeune, audacieux et pragmatique. Désormais, Madagascar est sur les rails de l'économie verte, à sa tête un TGV. L'aventure malagasy sera belle. Merci de votre attention.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your statement. Now, I am honored to invite His Excellency the Right Honorable Edouard Ngirente, Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda, to address the Assembly.
Your Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency Sirisena, President of Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, Your Excellency Andry Rajoelina, President of the Republic of Madagascar, Excellencies, Head of Delegations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure and honor to attend the fourth session of the United Nations Environment Assembly representing His Excellency Paul Kagame, the President of the Republic of Rwanda. I wish to convey to you all his warm greetings and best wishes for a successful meeting here in Nairobi. I wish to thank President Kenyatta for hosting this assembly. The Rwanda delegation appreciates the warm hospitality that our Kenyan brothers and sisters extended to us since our arrival. We are gathered here today at a critical time in the humanity's relationship with nature. Never before have the pressures on our environment been greater. In many parts of the world, climate change is already affecting our societies. Economies and ecosystems are struggling to keep up with the rate of warming. Therefore, this United Nations Environment Assembly themed innovative solutions for environmental challenges and sustainable consumption and production is a good opportunity to define a new development model that is clean, green, and climate-friendly. We strongly believe that resolution from this assembly will complement other existing global strategies and a commitment to address climate change. One of them is the Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol that aims at phasing out the use of potent warming gases known as HFCs by more than 80% over the next 30 years. The government of Rwanda thanks the 69 nations that have already ratified the Kigali Amendment and encourages all member states to do so in order to fast-track the phase-out of these warming gases and strengthen global climate actions. If we implement the Kigali Amendment with energy efficiency, we can avoid an additional half of a degree Celsius of warming by the end of the century. In this regard, I wish to express my appreciation to President Kenyatta and President Macron for convening this One Planet Summit on the sideline of the UNEA 4 and for their commitment to climate actions. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, water resource management and reducing dependence on biomass as a source of cooking energy are two critical aspects of climate action in Africa and necessitate innovative solutions. I encourage nations across the continent to work together to address these challenges for health and well-being of all. I would like to use this opportunity to mention that my country, Rwanda, in partnership with the UN Environment, Global Environment Facility, the World Economic Forum, and other governments, recently established the African Circular Economy Alliance. The mission of the Alliance is to advance the uptake of the circular economy across the continent through sharing experience and facilitating a new partnership between public and private institutions. I invite all African nations to join the Alliance. Our common goal should be the creation of a zero-waste society that will both address environmental issues, boost economic growth, and job creation. To build a clean, green, and resilient societies requires a robust policy framework that protects and rehabilitates nature, gives priority to the health of citizens, and fosters green investment. In this context, Rwanda was proud to initiate and host in November last year the African Green Growth Forum to fast-track green growth across the continent. The next African Green Growth Forum will take place in 2020 in Kigali. We take this opportunity to invite you all to this forum. Rwanda would like to reiterate its commitment to promoting sustainable management of environment and natural resources and respecting its international obligation, as well as we transition toward a green economy. In conclusion, I wish to commend the joint effort of Republic of Kenya and Republic of France, the co-chairs of this assembly, and the United Nations for organizing this assembly. As leaders, we should be ambitious and innovative in our effort to address transitional environment challenges for our nation's sustainable growth and development. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for your statement. And now I have the great honor to invite Her Excellency Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, to address the Assembly.
Thank you. Your Excellency, President Uhuru Kenyatta, the President of the Republic of Kenya, our distinguished heads of state and government, President of our UN Assembly, the interim president, my sister, Kristalina Georgieva of the World Bank, our acting head of our UN Environment Program, colleagues, friends, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, karibu nisana UN. I'd like to thank at this point the President Uhuru Kenyatta for his generosity and hospitality in being with us at this conference. It's an incredibly important time for us. We are at a juncture where we need to take our words to actions. But let me also add my condolences to the government and people of Kenya, but also the government of Ethiopia, and all the bereaved relatives of those from many nations who lost their loved ones in last week's tragic air crash. Of course, many of the UN family, from our staff to that of the World Bank, to, of course, our NGOs and delegates from very many of our member states. I would like to join you in sorrow, but in strong conviction, as the President of the Assembly said, let us carry on their fight in their name for people, planet. And then I say, we also join you in solidarity and the resolution to finally turn the tides towards ambitious policies that enable strong economies and protect the health of our planet. This is the fourth year this Assembly has grown from strength to strength in highlighting and proposing solutions to some of the most important environmental challenges of our time. We continue to count on the wisdom of this body because globally our environment is under extreme pressure, and we've heard that from our leaders this morning. We're at an unprecedented turning point in our planet, and this UN Environment Assembly is an opportunity to change that trajectory from one of impacts and loss to one of solutions and actions. I just looked at one of our Time magazine covers. 15 years ago, Kofi Annan was on that cover. And what it said in the corner was the meltdown of the Arctic. And in the other corner it said, ending wars, making our leaders twitch. 15 years later, we need to know that urgency doesn't mean decades. It needs to happen now. The focus of this UN Environment Assembly is on innovative solutions for environmental challenges and sustainable consumption and production. Today, I'd like to highlight the solutions and innovations we need across three key themes. The first, sustainable consumption and production and supply chains. The second, biodiversity loss and conservation. And last but not least, climate change. First, let's look at our patterns of consumption and production, the focus of this assembly. In 2017, resources extracted from Mother Earth reached 90 billion metric tons. Less than 10% of those resources were recycled back into the economy. Millions of tons of plastic are flowing into our oceans with devastating consequences for marine life. Every day, we live with the shortcomings of a linear economic model based on take, make, and dispose. These shortcomings are exemplified by the way we produce, use, and discard mobile telephones. I'm sure everyone in this room has one. These phones that we use are all typically built with at least 60 different metals, from graphite to silicon. Extraction of many of these metals is extremely harmful to the environment and to the people and communities living in those environments and extracting. Meanwhile, at the other end of production and consumption chain, some 45 million tons of electronic waste, worth about $55 billion, are generated every year. And this figure, sadly, is growing, with less than 20% today recycled or reused. Rising levels of discarded electronic waste pose risks to human health and climate change, seeping toxins into the soil and water tables, affecting the quality of water we drink, and emitting methane, which contributes to rising greenhouse gas emissions. Our solution to break out of these unsustainable cycles of consumption and production is clear. We must change our perception that economic progress requires a depletion of natural resources. Inspiring actions by civil society and governments at all levels and corporations show us that we can, in fact, achieve greater economic benefits from innovative approaches to how we eat, we purchase, travel, and discard waste. For example, the initiative in Kiribati Islands provides families with unique hydroponic systems to make food without soil. Large hotel chains such as a Hilton have recently committed to reduce water consumption and waste by 50%. And countries are beginning to entirely eliminate single-use plastics. Costa Rica intends to phase them out by 2021 and India by 2022. These are just a few examples of the transitions we need to more sustainable consumption and production habits. We must focus on creating products with few components and products that last rather than tossing them after a single use. And we must support the regrowth of all renewable resources to ensure that they are available for future generations. We must, in effect, create a circular economy. And as President Uhuru was just speaking to me now, we talked about actually the circular economy and no waste was in fact indigenous to Africa. As we grew up as children, nothing went to waste. So it's a pleasure to see our elders here today remind us that there is something in our culture that we can bring now for future generations. Second, I would like to turn to biodiversity loss, which is also linked to our unsustainable consumption and production habits. Our use of land and resources to fuel our economy leads to the destruction of vital ecosystems and habitats. As a former Minister of Environment, I witnessed this firsthand with the effort of remediation in Ogoniland, the largest ever oil disaster. The Global Resource Outlook, released earlier this week, finds that extraction and processing of resources is responsible for a staggering 90% of biodiversity loss and water stress globally. Since 1970, the extent of wetlands in Europe and Central Asia has declined by 50%, and around 40% of land in Western Asia is at risk of desertification. The potential impact on health, on economy, and society of ongoing biodiversity loss is tremendous. For example, the economic value of nature in the Americas is estimated at approximately $24.3 trillion annually. Solutions are available to safeguard ecosystems and the biological diversity of this planet. We do need innovative solutions to manage protected areas, and we need to promote more sustainable use and management of terrestrial and aquatic resources. For example, in South Africa, a tax break is being tested, which benefits landowners who declare protected areas on their land. In India, a woman farmers group is working to conserve traditional crops using seed banks and traditional farming practices. And biodiversity enterprise funds continue to grow in numbers, investing into small and medium enterprises and cooperatives which prioritize conservation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, my third point today, looming above all of our work, is climate change. It threatens our natural ecosystems, our agriculture, our economies, our health, our security, our future. Climate change, too, is linked to our unsustainable consumption and production habits. We learned this week that 53% of emissions are caused by the extraction and processing of these resources. Last year alone, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change said we have only 12 years to change course. Time is fast running out. Otherwise, we will endure irreversible consequences. So the time is now to take a big, ambitious leap. In Katowice, countries adopted a rulebook to guide their efforts to combat climate change and to move to greater ambition. We now have a comprehensive legal framework to implement the Paris Agreement, adopted by members of the UNFCCC and welcomed by authorities in the private sector. And on September the 23rd this year, the Secretary-General will convene a Climate Action Summit in New York to reinforce the ambition, call, and urge us all to accelerate climate action. We need ambition and we need urgency. The Secretary-General is calling on leaders to come to the summit not with another speech, but with a plan for reducing emissions by 45% over the next decade and reaching the goal of zero net emissions in 2050. A plan to decarbonize electricity and to finally build more sustainable infrastructure in cities. A plan to create not only green jobs, but decent green jobs. A plan ambitious enough and credible enough to convince all our people taking to the streets that they are taken very seriously. Around the world, many innovative solutions are already being developed. In Singapore, the government has engaged in extensive greening efforts that have helped reduce energy demand and thus reducing the need for air conditioning. In the US, a company called Solido Technologies is planning to tweak the way in which concrete is made with 70% lower emissions. So we can go beyond governments to the public sector when we look for climate action. The Climate Summit will promote the scaling up and the replication of such solutions. It will raise ambition and action across following areas: energy, industry, finance, carbon pricing, nature-based solutions, resilience and adaptation, the infrastructure, cities and local action. In addition, the summit will aim to mobilize public opinion and propose solutions to the political and social challenges that impede ambitious climate action. The summit will be a moment of global ambition and inclusive multilateralism. It will demonstrate that solutions exist and are ready to be deployed at scale by governments and all actors. The governments and non-governmental stakeholders will have a plan to set the world on a sustainable and equitable path. Ladies and gentlemen, the call really is to action. As we gather here in Nairobi during a time of unprecedented urgency and the need for action, our work here this week is heavier than anyone had expected. Our urgency and heaviness is compounded with the extreme loss of bright environmental leaders, youth trailblazers who were nominated by their government to travel to Nairobi to advocate for environmental protection and marine conservation, a staff member of UNEP who was a committed gender advocate and passionate champion of sustainable development and the goals, and the links to the environment, and a World Bank staff member who dedicated his life to connecting people around climate change solutions, from storytelling to photography. These environmental and climate actors, these concerned actors in our human community, and the many other victims whose time does not allow me to name, came to Nairobi with a purpose, as you all have. There are no words for these times of loss, but we must honor these leaders with an urgency in the work that we do. With each new campaign, new change in our consumption patterns, or fund we will help start, we are taking strides. It must be done by each and every one of us, individually and collectively. I plead with you to internalize your responsibility and to turn your concerns into actions. All here today, I ask you to bring young people into the center of your work, especially our women and our girls. Ask them to be disruptive in finding solutions to the way in which companies produce, to the loss of biodiversity in our world, and to their national governments' responses to climate change. In the past 2 days, I've been inspired by the bold partnerships, ideas, and innovations I've seen in support of the hashtag #SolveDifferent campaign. My last point is to stress the importance of partnerships to strengthen and scale our collective work. National governments must provide spaces to illuminate and scale this growing groundswell of action on climate and the environment. Make sure that you bring in city leaders to your policy-making decisions. Cities are the closest levels of government to the people and can act as innovation labs for national government solutions. The private sector leaders are devising some of the most ambitious commitments on environmental protection and climate action, from private equity funds dedicated to biodiversity to 100% renewable energy fuel supply chains. Let's take these ideas, let's scale them so that people everywhere can see that a sustainable future is not only possible, but it is happening. It just needs more urgency and more scale. We must show the world that it is not only necessary, but imminently possible to reshape our global economy into one that rewards careful stewardship and punishes waste and pollution. Let us turn 2019 into a year of transformative solutions. I thank you.
Thank you for your remarks, Ms. Mohammed. Your presence here is a strong indication that the United Nations hold the UN Environment Assembly with great regard as the highest authority on environmental matters. Thank you. And I now am honored to invite the Interim President of the World Bank, Ms. Kristalina Georgieva, to address the Assembly.
Thank you very much, Mr. President of the General Assembly, Your Excellency President Kenyatta, President Sirisena, President Rajoelina, Prime Minister Ngirente, dear Amina Mohamed, ladies and gentlemen, my institution, the World Bank Group, has gone a long way in embracing environmental sustainability since 1992 in Rio. I was hired in 1993 in response to the pledge of the bank to bring 100 environmental professionals and as an environmental economy of development everywhere. We have done well, and as a result, our shareholders just last year boosted our financial resources with the largest in our history capital increase, 50% increase of our financial capacity. And we also have been granted record levels for our Fund for the Poor to do what is necessary, and that means to promote sustainability everywhere. So let me briefly talk about what means for us to have more resources when I am with this audience. First, the World Bank Group traditionally brings a lot of skills and capacity to assess the economic impacts of actions, including what it means to degrade our ecosystems and what it means to invest in sustainable manner. We know that globally, the cost of environmental degradation ranges somewhere between 5 and 10% of GDP. We go country by country to see what exactly is causing it and what can be done. And then we direct our own investments to address these root causes of degradation. We are traditionally the institution that takes very good look into what makes good policies. And we know that harmful subsidies, be it of fossil fuels or of use of water in unsustainable manner. They are bad for the environment, but they are ultimately bad for the economy and the well-being of people. So we work relentlessly to promote shift in subsidies from bad to good. For example, in agriculture today, OECD tells us there are $570 billion of subsidies, and only 1/3 of them go for the right purpose, to promote research and development, to promote sustainable use of land, water, forestry. 2/3 of these subsidies ought to be redirected. We are not saying take them away. We are saying use them to promote sustainable agriculture. Third, we have been on the front line of promoting shift in national accounts, so pollution would not count as a plus in the economy, but restoration of land and forests will. And I want to pledge to you today that we would take this work forward by seriously investing in the ecosystem services and what value they bring to the economy. And I hope that in the next assembly, we all would know more about our natural capital and the role it plays. Secondly, we at the World Bank recognize that we ought to invest in nature so nature can help us. And in that regard, I want to announce today 2 areas in which we are stepping up our work. The first area is in sustainable land management and forestry restoration. I would like to recognize the Secretary General commitment to a decade of land restoration. And I don't know whether the Minister of Environment of El Salvador, Lina Paul, is in the audience. If she is, thank you for pushing for this decade. Our contribution from the World Bank Group would be to fund at least 120 million hectares of sustainable forest management, land restoration, reforestation. This is the way we want to be part of this action. The second area where we are stepping up our engagement is the health of our oceans. Like the forests, they are the lungs on which life on this planet depends. But we have been bad stewards of our oceans. We pollute them, we overfish them, we eliminate the mangroves that are protecting us against storms and are so critical for fisheries. So we have launched ProBlue with the support of Norway, Canada, Germany, Sweden, Iceland, Portugal, Denmark, France, and the European Union. And ProBlue is exactly about reversing what we do. And President Kenyatta, I was so very pleased on the plane to hear the stewardess saying, if you have any plastic bag, do not take it from the plane. Congratulations to you and all those who fight plastic pollution. Since we have announced ProBlue, we now have over $1 billion of investment. We put our money where our mouth is. Let me finish last but not least with a simple statement. Yes, we have to use all tools we have in our disposal, but when we don't have the tools, we have to invent them. We at the World Bank have invented green bonds in 2008. Last year we have added blue bonds to the green bonds, and we want to have on top of it the forest protection bonds, and I know that there are people here with whom we talk about that already. We also want to make sure that we can expand the use of the emission reduction payment agreements so they help us to protect forests. And we are currently working with the Democratic Republic of Congo and Mozambique to be the first 2 African countries to sign these agreements with. Time has advanced, so let me go straight to where we all are in our hearts, mourning for the people we lost. the best memorial we can build for them is our action. And when we pledge, then we do. I want to finish with a short statement in Swahili. Nosema na kutenda. Say and do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Georgieva. With your presence here, we look forward to strengthening the partnership between the World Bank and the United Nations Environment Programme. Finally, I am pleased to invite Ms. Joyce Suya, Acting Executive Director of UN Environment Programme, to address the Assembly.
Thank you very much, Honorable President of the United Nations Environment Assembly, Minister Kistler. Let me honor the Excellencies, President of the Republic of Kenya, Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, President of Democratic Socialist of Sri Lanka, Honorable Mr. Maithripala Sirisena, the President of Madagascar, Honorable Andry Rajoelina, the Prime Minister of Rwanda, Mr. Eduardo Ngirente, Deputy Secretary General of the UN, Amina Mohamed, Interim President of the World Bank Group, Kristalina Georgieva. I'm delighted to be here, but also let me add my words of condolences to the victims of the Ethiopian Airlines crash, in particular our colleague from UN Environment Programme, Victor, but also the delegates, youth, UN colleagues and World Bank colleagues who lost their lives. Our thoughts and prayers are with their families and friends. 12 years ago, right here in Kenya, a company launched a service that allowed large scale. Kenya led the way. By scaling up a single innovation, the country rapidly emerged as a global leader in financial inclusion, to apply the same level of ingenuity to the environmental challenges that are facing humanity today. We have made progress, and we have a historic opportunity to rise above the doom and gloom narrative, but time is short. We are past pledging and politicking. What is at stake is life and society as we know it. The science has spoken. We cannot ensure a healthy future for our planet by tweaking around the edges. We need to increase fivefold climate action or risk triggering extreme climate impacts. If we focus on just the next few years, we must tackle three complex environmental challenges with courage and resolve: addressing climate change, stopping biodiversity loss, and awakening people everywhere to the size of their environmental footprints. We have an option. The cost of inaction is higher than the cost of action. Too often, we tend to view these challenges as separate and distinct, but in terms of the actions required to tackle them, they are nearly one and the same. Allow me to offer 5 ideas that can build on the transformational examples on how we can address these challenges. First, if we have to stop relying on fossil fuels to power economic growth, we can achieve this by embracing circularity, reducing, reusing, and redesigning everything that we produce and consume. Second, we need to reset our relationship with nature by safeguarding our wild places and valuing the environment in our financial, accounting, and infrastructure decisions. Third, we need to rethink how our cities function and plan ahead for an urban future. 4, we need to ensure that people everywhere have access to clean cooling so that they can live comfortably and safely, store food and medicines, and make a difference in global warming. And 5, we need to transform the race for renewable energy into a full-on sprint for humanity. While we may disagree on precise steps we should take, we must never turn our backs on the debate. Now, more than ever, we must show our steadfast resolve to embrace and sustain our system of environmental governance and multilateralism. In this journey to 2030, here in Nairobi, and later this year at the Secretary General's Climate Summit in New York, UN Environment, together with our UN sisters and brothers, is here to support you in making the kinds of changes that our planet needs. At the Environment Assembly, this assembly, let us craft ambitious solutions that compel all of us gathered here to work together with urgency, coherency, and agency. We have a saying in Kiswahili, chombo hakiendi ikiwa kila mtu anapiga makasia yake. A boat does not go forward if each one is rowing his or her own way. Our collective action is needed. As our window of opportunity gets smaller by the hour, each one of us must ask ourselves, what does ambitious climate action look like? For people, for planet, and for posterity, what are we ready to bring to the table? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your remarks, Joyce, and I also wish to thank you for your stable stewardship of UN Environment Programme. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to extend on behalf of all those gathered here our sincere appreciation to the people of Kenya for their hospitality and to the efforts of the Secretariat to make this assembly successful. We will now bid farewell to the Presidents and Prime Minister and Deputy Secretary General who have joined us today, and we will resume immediately with national statements in the same conference room here. Ladies and gentlemen, may I ask you to take your seat again? Distinguished delegates, we continue with the session, and our order for the session is as set out in the speakers list. Should you need to consult the list, our conference room officer will be of assistance. Before I invite our first speaker, I want to remind our delegates that during Tuesday's plenary session, it was decided that the timer would be set in front of the speaker on the left in order to monitor the allocated time of 3 minutes while speaking. Secondly, the microphone will automatically turn off, as I just demonstrated, after the allotted speaking time and a small grace period. I urge all the delegates to exhibit restraint and make your statement within the allotted time. Please be informed that a video and a written text of statements made will be published on the website of the Environment Assembly. On this note, I would like to remind delegations that have not sent their statements to the Secretariat yet, please do so. And now, I ask for silence and order, please. And it is my honor to invite Her Excellency Ms. Isabella Lövin, Minister for Environment and Climate of Sweden, and also Deputy Prime Minister of Sweden. The floor is yours.
Distinguished delegates, excellencies and ministers, we've gathered here today to encourage action on the environment, but some of us that should have been here are tragically missing. Our thoughts are with the families and friends in a very difficult time. We share the sorrow of colleagues and others who knew those that were on Ethiopian Flight 302. Together, we will remember them. Ladies and gentlemen, the story of mankind's relationship with our planet has long been a story of conquest, finding new land, taming the wild, cutting down trees and killing animals. But our attitude towards our planet urgently needs to change. Entire species are going extinct at an alarming pace. The number of plastic particles in our oceans far exceeds the stars in the Milky Way. The climate change is altering the very conditions of life and the very biochemistry of the ocean with no turning back. It's late on Earth for us to come together to make sure that the story takes a new turn. We no longer need to conquer our planet. It has already been conquered. The next chapter must be how to heal and to protect our planet. It must be about stewardship and sustainable use, so that we leave our planet in a better condition to our children than it was when we arrived. And this is a global challenge. So let all of us continue to strengthen the UN Environment Assembly as an important arena to write this chapter. UNEP has helped us to maintain a focus on the environment ever since the Stockholm Conference in 1972. Now, when we need to realize the Agenda 2030 and the Paris Agreement, its role is more crucial than ever. The disastrous effects of climate change tell us with abundant clarity that we need to mitigate and make adaptive efforts. But climate change also tells us something else, that the increasing stress of rising temperatures that puts on all life means that we must try much harder to reduce other pressures. We simply cannot expect our ocean to cope with both plastic pollution, overfishing, and eutrophication, on top of the effects of climate change, with acidification, warming, and deoxygenation. We urgently need to increase the resilience of the marine ecosystems, and I hope that UNEA 4 will be a turning point when we set the stage for clean waters, healthy marine habitats, and restored fish populations. Excellencies, plastic is now found everywhere, and we're fed up with it. Marine plastics from littering and mismanaged waste is a major threat to ecosystems. Take single-use products, for instance, many of which are only used for a few seconds, while it takes hundreds of years for them to degrade. One of my most important missions for this meeting is to push for action against plastic pollution. As noted in the study commissioned by UNEA 2, current governance strategies and approaches do not adequately tackle this issue. We absolutely need to step up our efforts, and I look forward to continue working with all of you on this. Plastic pollution is linked to another important problem and threat to human health: the use and spread of toxic chemicals. Since 1950, more than 140,000 new chemicals and pesticides have been synthesized. Many of these pose serious risks. In fact, every 30 seconds, one worker dies from exposure to toxic chemicals. Sadly, we
Thank you, Minister Levin. Unfortunately, your time allocated by the Assembly has expired. I kindly ask you to send your written statement to the Secretariat so that it may be uploaded on the UN Environment Assembly website. And I hereby urge the distinguished delegates to really limit your statements to the allotted time, as the microphone automatically cuts off after 3 minutes at the short period of grace. And now I invite His Excellency Mr. Masagos Zulkifli, Minister for the Environment and Water Resources of Singapore, to take the floor, and I also announce that he will also take a statement for Asia Pacific Group. So 2 statements. The floor is yours, Minister.
Thank you. Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished guests. Allow me to begin by expressing my deepest condolences to families and loved ones of the victims of the ill-fated flight ET-302. I will first deliver Singapore's national statement, followed by the Asia-Pacific statement arising from our meeting in January. We must take urgent action to protect our planet for future generations. To develop sustainably, we need a paradigm shift by changing our production and consumption patterns from the linear take, make, throw approach to a circular one that reuses resources endlessly. This circular approach is supported by 3 pillars. First, reducing our production and consumption with the support and participation from all stakeholders. Second, building a strong foundation in science and innovation to turn waste into resource and generate new economic spin-offs for our people. Third, enhancing global and regional cooperation to accelerate the shift of economic systems towards more sustainable trajectories. Let me share how Singapore is building on these pillars. The key to achieving sustainable consumption and production is to reduce what we produce and consume. This is why Singapore has designated 2019 as the year towards zero waste. The aim is to imbue a greater awareness of resource scarcity and mobilize the nation to protect our resources and environment by consuming and producing less. We also need innovative solutions to maximize resource efficiency and do more with less. This year, Singapore will begin construction of a world's first, an integrated facility for used water and solid waste treatment. It leverages circular economy principles to reap synergies from the water energy waste nexus. To encourage others to find new ways to turn trash into treasure, we launched a $45 million Closing the Waste Loop Initiative Fund, research supporting circular economy approaches. National efforts are critical but insufficient to address global environmental challenges. Partnerships and dialogue through global platforms such as UNEA help accelerate the seeding of new ideas, adoption of innovative environmental solutions, and implementation of collaborative projects. On a regional level, Singapore recently hosted the third Forum of Ministers and Environment Agencies Authorities of the Asia-Pacific as part of our efforts to galvanize regional action. I will therefore now present a statement of the outcome of the third Forum of Ministers and Environment Authorities of Asia-Pacific held in Singapore last year. This year, I had the honor to chair this ministerial meeting of 41 countries in the Asia-Pacific region. The meeting saw a record turnout of over 35 high-level representatives, including a head of state, a head of government, and ministers. In the interest of time, I will read out a summary of the 4 key outcomes of the forum. First, the forum identified priority issues on sustainable consumption and production in the region. Delegates also shared their national actions and experiences on implementing solutions related to sustainable consumption and production, and discussed progress within the region to attaining the SDGs. Second, the forum noted the progress on regional implementation of resolutions and decisions of the last UN Environment Assembly. The forum further requested UNEP to scale up work on marine litter and plastic management, raise awareness on air pollution at national level, promote circular economy and resource efficiency. Third, the participation of UNIFOR President Slim Kistler and his interaction with delegates on the draft ministerial declaration is very much appreciated. The forum expressed support for a declaration that was ambitious but practical, reflecting the differences in national circumstances. The meeting also stressed the importance of providing technology, capacity building, and financial support for developing countries. And fourth, finally, one common theme that emerged from the forum was the need to have new forms of economic growth, such as the approach of circular economy in transforming waste into resources. Circular economy also requires strong research and development and innovation. Further, there is a need for a coordinated regional approach to promote a regional circular economy. Overall, the forum provided a useful opportunity for the countries in the Asia-Pacific to exchange views and coordinate approaches. We look forward to the next ministerial meeting to be hosted by the Republic of Korea. The full version of the regional statement will be submitted to the Secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Zulkifli. Now I invite Her Excellency Lorena Aguilar, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Costa Rica. The floor is yours.
Excelencias, es un honor estar en esta cuarta Asamblea de las Naciones Unidas aquí en UNEA, en esta bella ciudad de Nairobi. Estar aquí es como estar en casa. Gracias por su hospitalidad y atenciones. Agradezco el liderazgo del presidente de la UNEA, el señor Chrysler, de la República de Estonia, por su increíble trabajo durante la preparación de UNEA 4. Bajo su mandato, hemos fortalecido los principios de lo multilateral, intercambiando posiciones y hemos generado resoluciones y una declaración política. Suena poco, pero los que participamos en estos procesos sabemos lo costoso que es generar consensos para acordar cada palabra. Pero debemos ir más allá de las palabras o buenas intenciones a pasar a la acción. Nuestros ciudadanos, así como nuestros hijos e hijas y nietos, así nos lo demandan. Hoy más que nunca, en un mundo donde el populismo ataca constantemente lo multilateral, nuestro deber se centra en pasar a la implementación. Pero se trata de pasar a la acción con ambición, porque la ciencia así lo indica. Está en juego nuestra civilización y con ella sus creaciones culturales, espirituales, así como nuestro sistema económico. La declaración ministerial y las resoluciones aquí adoptadas son un punto de partida de mínimos comunes. Desde Costa Rica creemos que la alta ambición en materia climática y de sostenibilidad es clave para lograr un desarrollo inclusivo que genere bienestar para nuestras poblaciones. El desarrollo sostenible, el crecimiento verde es lo único posible, especialmente en países vulnerables como los que hoy representamos. Es por eso que Costa Rica ha lanzado al mundo un ambicioso plan de descarbonización al 2050. Los impactos de un mal modelo de desarrollo nos llevan por sendas de no retorno, donde se incrementan las enfermedades, la destrucción de nuestros cultivos, de nuestras aguas, de nuestro aire, de nuestros bosques y con ello de las inversiones realizadas por décadas. Como Costa Rica hemos propuesto 3 resoluciones en temas que consideramos claves para avanzar en la Agenda 2030 y los Objetivos de Desarrollo Sostenible. Una en movilidad sostenible, otra en promoción de la igualdad de género, los derechos humanos y el empoderamiento de mujeres y niñas en la gobernanza ambiental, así como la tercera hacia un planeta libre de contaminación. Agradecemos a las delegaciones por su colaboración y mística de trabajo para poder lograr estos consensos que contribuyen a los resultados de UNEA 4 que demuestran que debemos de ser innovadores. Gracias. Y no olvidemos hoy más que nunca que requerimos ambición, acción, innovación. Es el mejor tributo que podemos darle a aquellos que perdieron la vida, que venían a Nairobi. Por ellos, por sus hijos, especialmente por los hijos de Víctor, es la hora de llevar nuestros planes a la realidad. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Minister Aguilar, for this statement. And our last speaker for this session is His Excellency Mr. Wallace Cosgrove, Minister for Environment, Energy and Climate Change of Seychelles. The floor is yours.
Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this 4th United Nations Environment Assembly is a landmark and game-changing one for the world because the theme asks of us to think and come up with innovative solutions for the many environmental challenges that we have, but also about how we consume through more sustainable consumption and also production. It can no longer be business as usual. We need to shift towards a more sustainable and more circular economy. The world is not a giant landfill or dump yard. We should use the scientific knowledge that we have developed over the many decades and put it to good use so that the planet does not suffer due to our ignorance and carelessness, especially when it comes to products and items that ends up as waste materials. Research and innovation should be intensified in the development of more environmentally friendly options, or alternatives such as the positive movement that we are seeing in the global shift towards phasing out of single-use plastics. Same efforts should be explored in chemical management to achieve safer and less toxic material flows to protect human health and the environment from harmful effects of chemicals in waste. Seychelles is a small island developing state. We are not a major producer of goods. However, as a high-income country, we do consume a lot. With this in mind, we are doing our bit, for example, in the fight against single-use plastics. In 2017, we introduced a ban on single-use plastic bags and other plastic utensils, such as plates, cups, and forks, spoons, etc. This year, we continue with the movement with the introduction of a ban on single-use plastic straws. As a country, we are not only putting restrictions on single-use plastics, but we are also promoting the use of more environmentally friendly alternatives. And also continue to encourage the private sector to participate more actively in recycling activities. Mr. President, as a large oceanic state, the ocean is our survival and livelihood. Therefore, it is important that we use and exploit the oceans and its resources in a sustainable manner, particularly sustainable fisheries, but also strive to explore the untapped potentials of our oceans to the development of the blue economy. To conclude, we continue to be at the receiving end of many issues which are discussing here that impacts on the ocean, for example, marine litter and plastic pollution. Therefore, more action needs to be taken at a global level by the main producers of marine litter towards more effective waste management. Thank you very, very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Minister Cosgrove. Distinguished delegates, as you are very well aware, we are unfortunately behind with our schedule, so I apologize for this, and I give the floor to the Secretariat to explain how we will proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And as I informed in earlier sessions, we are very stretched in terms of interpreters owing to the dramatic accident that befell upon us and of which we lost several colleagues, including 3 interpreters that were expected to come to join us here at the UNEA, and we mourn for them. But the reality and the consequence is that we will have to take now one statement in French only by His Excellency the Minister of Environment and Sustainable Development of Senegal. Afterwards, we will adjourn the session and rearrange the list of speakers, keeping the precedence that it's given and due to Ministers of the Environment and then Vice Ministers and other heads of delegations. So, Mr. President, I kindly request you to give the floor to His Excellency Minister of Senegal, and afterwards we will adjourn the session and publish a revised list of speakers.
Thank you, Jorge. And I invite His Excellency Mr. Mohamed Hierno Dieng, Minister of Environment and Sustainable Development of Senegal. The floor is yours.
Merci. Monsieur le Président, chers collègues, distingués invités. Le thème de cette présente session nous interpelle tous directement, car intrinsèquement lié à l'urgence fondamentale de sauver notre planète. Déjà en 1968, l'écologue américain Feu Garrett Hardin, en décrivant la tragédie du bien commun, avait démontré que l'humanité courait à sa perte si l'utilisation désastreuse de nos ressources naturelles se poursuivait. Vous conviendrez avec moi que cette assertion datant d'un demi-siècle reste encore pertinente dans le contexte actuel de recherche effrénée de profit, de raréfaction des ressources naturelles et d'augmentation des externalités négatives. Nous sommes ainsi arrivés à un stade où la capacité de charge de nos différents milieux naturels est pratiquement dépassée. En outre, le gaspillage alimentaire observé par une infime partie de la population mondiale contraste avec la faim observée dans la majorité, surtout dans les couches les plus vulnérables qui n'arrivent pas à satisfaire même leurs besoins alimentaires de base. En conséquence, nous devons changer de paradigme et agir. Madame, Monsieur, la diminution de notre empreinte écologique ne peut se faire que dans une modification de nos modes de consommation et de production. Il devient dès lors nécessaire de promouvoir le développement économique sans compromettre les ressources naturelles dont la surexploitation se fait au détriment à long terme de la survie de toute l'humanité. N'oublions pas que nous sommes tous et toutes les garants de la promesse faite aux générations futures depuis Rio +20 de mettre en place des instruments, des mécanismes pour une consommation et une production raisonnable, respectueuse de l'environnement et de l'ensemble des richesses de la planète. Pour cela, nous devons regarder avec lucidité et clairvoyance les défis qui nous attendent au regard des programmes de développement des Nations Unies pour l'horizon 2030 et des documents de planification de nos États respectifs. Le Sénégal, sous le leadership de son Excellence le Président Macky Sall, a intégré les principes du développement durable dans la mise en œuvre de ses politiques publiques, de ses programmes de développement et même dans son arsenal juridique. Car en effet, dans notre Constitution de 2016, il est inscrit très clairement le principe d'un droit à un environnement. Le PSE, qui est le référentiel des politiques publiques du Sénégal, porte en son article 2 la dimension environnementale. De plus, dans ces perspectives, il est inscrit également la nécessité de la préservation de nos forêts. C'est pourquoi notre attention a porté sur la déforestation, l'érosion côtière, les pollutions de l'air et les pollutions plastiques, l'amélioration de nos gestions des ressources naturelles, aussi bien dans le domaine marin que dans l'extraction minière. C'est dans cet esprit que nous apportons notre soutien à la déclaration ministérielle qui sera adoptée au cours de cette session. Pour conclure, je voudrais rappeler que les défis sont nombreux et exigent une mobilisation de toutes les parties prenantes, un devoir de vigilance et de responsabilité afin de traduire les engagements pris en actes concrets visant notamment à éradiquer la pauvreté par une meilleure gestion de la biodiversité et des ressources naturelles, adossée au transfert de technologies appropriées et au renforcement des capacités dans le bien-être des générations actuelles et futures. Et lancer un appel pour que cette session fasse partie de celles qui se font avec développement et changement positif, parce qu'il y a beaucoup de colloques sans développement. Je voudrais à mon tour m'associer à toutes les condoléances qui ont été présentées par les victimes du crash qui est survenu récemment. Madame, Monsieur, je vous remercie de votre bien aimable attention.
Thank you, Minister Tierno Dieng. Dear delegates, the session is adjourned until 4 p.m. Thank you.